Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in. Let's see what's in the repair lineup here today. We've got a Stihl MS351 that doesn't run well. We have a Shindiwa top handle that doesn't run well. We have a Stihl MS251 that got clipped by a skid steer. We have an MS250 that doesn't run well. A Husky 562 that makes some kind of noise. A 461 here for service. A two-man Hornet. And an 026, 026, 024, and an MS260 here for various things. Well, let's start right now with this MS250. Get on my workbench. Good morning. Welcome back to my workbench. My name is Erica, and I am so glad that you're here. Today in the bench, we have the Stihl MS250. The customer who dropped this off said the saw was running hot, and then it stopped working, and then it wouldn't restart for him. So this is a 45cc homeowner class chainsaw. This is a very popular saw. Stihl sells lots of these, and you can still buy these today. So come along with me, and let's find out why this saw won't start for him. Well, here we are with this Stihl MS250 chainsaw. These are a very common saw. We've sold a lot of these. I see a lot of them in for service and repair and basic maintenance. And you can still buy these new from Stihl. These are our current model. So let's take a quick walk around in the saw. I sold this brand new, I think about 2 years ago. Just looking at the plastics and the handles, looking for any visible damage. It is very dirty. The bar looks newer than the saw. The chain is dull on one side more than the other. Rusty muffler. This saw here was made in China. Some of the MS250s are made in China. Well, I think the first thing we'll do is what we always do. We'll check the fuel, we'll check the bar oil, and then we'll step outside with it and see if it'll start for us. So we're starting with a fresh, clean cup. We've got lots of fuel in there. There's a bit of dirt in this fuel. I don't see any water in there. If this is the fuel that he's been running it on, I don't think the fuel is the problem. Okay, so I'll just put his fuel back in it, and we will test it under the same conditions that he was running it. A little bit of dirt stayed in there. Yep, lots of bar oil. Let's pop outside the door and see if this thing will start for us. I'll meet you out there. Something wrong. Okay, so this thing acted at first like it was going to run okay, but then once it warmed up for a minute, it did not run okay. First things first, let's get the bar and chain off of this, and then we will dive deeper into this saw. I just looked back through my records and I sold this saw new 5 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun. So let's pull the top cover off this. See what we can find. Okay, so that is a completely packed air filter. You should clean these from time to time, not let it look like this. Your saw would appreciate it. That's the summer winter shutter, and it was installed for hot weather, so that's correct. Let's pull that spark plug out and we'll look at it and we'll take a quick look down the hole. It's got a bit of a weight tip on it there. This thing has been running hot. Just grab my camera, we'll take a look. So the piston and cylinder look okay. There is a carbon buildup on top of the piston. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to put his spark plug back in this, and then I'm going to take it outside without an air filter. This thing is completely stuffed. We're going to take it back outside without and see how it runs. I like eliminating just one simple thing at a time, and then I can possibly pinpoint where the problem was. So his plug back in, no air filter. And also while I'm standing here, I can see the spark arrestor and it is white and completely clean. So I won't bother taking it out. Okay, well, let's go outside and see if this runs any different. I'll see you out there. That saw runs differently than it did before. I let it warm up, I let it idle, I let it hang by the handle, I had it on its side, and I couldn't get it to act up. So all we have changed here since last time is we have the bar and chain off of it, and we have removed that plugged up air filter. So far what I see here is we have a saw, a dirty, filthy saw that's running a stuffed up air filter and a dull chain. We had a look at his fuel, and the fuel in there looks fine, but we don't know what was ran through it just prior to this, or whether something was dumped out of it and this fuel was added. You know what I mean. I often don't get the whole story here. The man who owns the saw doesn't run this saw. He has a crew of guys who, various people run this thing. So there's a lot of just unknowns here. And all I have to work with is what I can see and find. So I think my plan of action here is going to be, I'm going to put a new air filter in this. I'm going to put the bar and chain back on it. And we're going to go back outside with it, make some cuts with it, and see if it gives us any problems. Okay, let's do that. Put the shutter back in, and we'll put a new air filter in this saw. It'll appreciate that. There's the part number for that air filter. I'll put the bar and chain back on this. I know it's dirty. I want to see if this thing is going to run properly before I spend too much time cleaning this. And he didn't actually request a cleaning or ask for a service. He just said, my saw stopped working and I need it back ASAP. He actually had 2 saws go down on the same day. Well, this thing starts and runs and idles and cuts no problem. You just seen it cut through a large ash tree. So this saw was simply screaming to its owner or user, maintain me, stop using me, and maintain me. You can't expect something like this to just work for you day after day without any maintenance. Like that just doesn't work. So now that we know that this thing runs without a problem, I will give it the cleanup it deserves and get this thing ready for pickup. This little Stihl MS250 runs and cuts excellent. So when this saw was dropped off, the owner said the saw was running hot, stopped working, and he couldn't restart it. We didn't really have any problems getting it started, but it didn't want to run well. We did a basic inspection: fuel, air filter, spark plug, spark arrestor. We found a completely stuffed air filter. We found a dull chain. The combination of the 2 of those things, maybe this thing was overheating, couldn't run properly. Whatever it was, we've put a new air filter in it. We've taken it back outside. We've made a couple cuts with it, and it works excellent. So I think here we have a case of an MS250 that simply does not get maintained or taken care of. So on to the next saw. I have a whole line of them over there waiting for me. It's time for a fresh coffee and get back to work. Thank you so much for watching.